Hello everyone. In this video, I will be discussing Chapter 6 of the Scarlet Letter, Hester Meets the Enemy. And during this discussion, I'm going to be referring back to some passages earlier in the novel. At the end of Chapter 5, Hester and Dimmesdale are sitting on the platform, and as the meteor passes through the sky, they see Roger Chillingworth. On page 36, it says, "The meteor disappeared as suddenly as it had appeared. Mr. Dimmesdale, now trembling with terror, said, 'Who is that man, Hester? Do you know him? I hate him, Hester.'" So now in chapter number 6, at the top of page 40, it says, "It was clear to Hester that this man was the priest's secret enemy, playing the part of a friend and helper, and slowly but surely driving the priest into madness." So she takes advantage of an opportunity in this chapter to speak to Roger Chillingworth on the beach. On page 41, she says, "When we last spoke together 7 years ago, you made me promise not to tell anyone that we once lived as husband and wife. I agreed to be silent because, as you said then, his position and life were in your hands. But I see now that I was wrong to keep silent. Since that day, you have been beside him, sleeping and waking. You search his thoughts and his heart, and each day you cause him to live a dying death." And look at the question she asks next. "And is it I who allowed this to happen?" So the central question is Hester Prynne responsible for Chillingworth taking revenge on Dimmesdale? At the bottom of page 41, Roger says to her, "What am I now? A devil? And who made me this? Who made me into a devil?" At the top of 42, look what Hester says. "It was me. Me as much as he." She's taking responsibility here. She says, "It was my fault that you have become a devil. And it's also Dimmesdale's fault, because had they not had that secret affair, none of this would have happened." And if you look on page 43, look what Roger Chillingworth says to her. "You planted the evil. You, Hester, planted the evil. And now its black flowers are growing. We cannot change the way things are." So in essence, he is blaming her for his taking revenge against Dimmesdale, for making him the devil. And when I read that, to be honest with you, I ask myself, is it Hester's fault for setting up the situation? She does bear some blame. She had an affair with a man who was not her husband. And so she did commit a sin. But on the other hand, I think we have to look at Roger Chillingworth's own response to this. If we go back to chapter 1, when he comes into town, he sees Hester, his wife, standing on the platform carrying an infant. And on page 8, he turns to a man in the town and says, "Who is the father of the child she is holding?" And then on page 9, at the top, he said, "It is wrong that the father of her child, who has also sinned, is not standing by her side on the scaffold." And he's right to some extent. Yes, the man who fathered her child should be on the platform with her. But then he added, "He will be known. He will be known." In chapter number 2, Roger Chillingworth goes to prison and he gives some sleeping medicine to Hester and her child. But he emphasizes in the conversation that he wants to know who fathered the child. He says on the middle of page 14, there's a man living who has wronged us both. Who is he? And he adds, I will know him. On page 15, he makes Hester promise to him that she will not reveal that he is her husband, that Roger is her husband. And then she asks on page 16, have you tied me into an agreement that will destroy my soul? And he answered, not your soul, no, not yours. But now she's keeping yet another secret, and there are consequences for that. On chapter 5, and page 32, we discover that Roger Chillingworth has a plan. And it says, though he appeared calm and gentle, without passion, there was inside him a deep, slow-burning cruelty, an evil wish to bring terrible revenge on his enemy. He's playing a game of cat and mouse with the priest, with Mr. Dimmesdale. So that leads us back to chapter 6. How much is Hester responsible, if at all, for Roger Chillingworth and his actions of taking revenge against Dimmesdale, the father of her child? That's the question we're asking here. He implies to her, he tells her that she was the one who planted the evil. She's the one who made him the devil. And she says on page 42, it was me. I am the one who did it. But yet we have to ask ourselves, how much is she responsible for his actions? I hope you've enjoyed this commentary and reading the book. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.